All right. Sorry about that, everybody, but welcome to the show that talks about Tulsa. People making a difference in the Tulsa community, special guest interviews, spotlighting local businesses, to covering important issues within the community no one else is talking about, the hot topics, and more. Ladies and gentlemen, we are finally here. This is World One Development's News You Can Use with your host, Mr. Charles Harper, and myself, Miss Damali Wilson. We want to thank everyone for listening or watching on the radio. We totally apologize for the technical difficulties, but hey, it's technology. We're going to talk about tech today on the show. So, hey, it's just one of those things. So we appreciate you guys for either watching us on Facebook Live or on www.KBOB899.com or tuning into any of the News You Can Use media networks, which are powered by World One Development. We really appreciate that. I am your hostess with the mostest, of course, Mr. Molly Wilson.
And I'm Charles Harper. It's Wednesday, a.k.a. Hump Day, July 3rd, 2024. And we are live every Wednesday at 1 p.m. right here on KBOB 89.9 FM and simulcast on the News You Can Use media network, powered by World One Development. We are set for an exciting show, you guys. You better call your mom and them and tell them you can dial in at 918-56-3873 or post your comments on our Facebook Live feed at World One Development.
So on today's show, it's going to be the police report with Lieutenant Lauren Sanders. We're going to talk about protection at home, in the car, and what you can have on your body.
Yep. Also live in studio, we got Terrence Billingsley II talking about Black Tech Street, the latest happening in tech and job available in that space. Also in studio, mayoral candidate Monroe Nichols discussing his plans for Tulsa.
And of course, our Hump Day hot topics, which are the chatter about NBA draft of Bronny James and the first presidential debate. Tell us your thoughts, birthdays, and more.
This is News You Can Use right here on KBOB 89.9 FM and World One Development News You Can Use for Charles and Damali. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back, you guys.
Tulsa. Media Studio 24/7 live at KBOB899.com. Can't do that without your help. That's why it's important that we as a community continue to support the Juice Radio Show and keep 89.9 on the air. The community not only deserves this service, but needs this service. Let's continue to support the mission and give it a voice to the voiceless and donate to the Juice Radio Show. The Juice Radio Show is a non-profit 501c3 powered by KBOB 89.9 and Eden Media Services, operating solely off the gifts, donations, and contributions made by listeners like yourself. All donations made to the Juice Radio Show are tax deductible and can be sent to 1216 North Lady Avenue, CCB, Oklahoma 74106.
It's Tulsa, I see you here in Tulsa. I'm in Tulsa chilling.
The 36th Street North Event Center is a full-scale event center where we share the experiences of the community. At the event center, you can rent space for weddings, birthday parties, receptions, concerts, Greek events, quinceañeras, and much more. We also do custom decor, linen, and centerpieces. We're located at 1125 East 36th Street North. To book your next special event, business gathering, or community event, call us at 918-200-9046.
This is News You Can Use right here on KBOB 89.9 FM and simulcast on the News You Can Use media network, powered by World One Development.
And we are back. So News You Can Use is all about shedding some light on the positive happenings in our community. There are many great businesses, programs, and events occurring in our neighborhood, and we felt the community needed to hear about those things, one, so we can support, and two, so we can be informed.
What's going on, family? I'm Charles Harper, Chief Executive Officer of World One Development, which includes fitting back in EduRec Youth and Family Fun Center, 36th Street North Event Center, and Oklahoma Community Support Coalition. My job is, because the world wants to know, is to provide leadership for all aspects of World One development, but the emphasis on long-term goals, growth, profits, and a return on that investment. And I am so excited and I am so elated to be one of the creators of this phenomenal show.
And I'm Damali Wilson, Chief Operating Officer for World One Development. And my job is designing and implementing business operations and establishing policies that promote company culture and vision. I am also in charge of social media for all of the World One Development entities. If you would like to advertise your business or organization on this show or any of our other individual platforms, please inbox me your contact information on Facebook Messenger so we can talk. I am also happy and elated to be one of the creators of this phenomenal show.
Damali,
What's cracking?
what's up? What's happening?
It's hot.
It is. I know it's hot outside. It's like really, really hot.
I know.
You know, like I said, it is summertime though.
It is.
But it's a lot of people still out, regardless of it being hot. But if you are out and about, drink you some water.
Yes, we've been talking about that for weeks now. We're
Find
just
you
trying to get y'all prepared.
Find you some shade and some
Yeah.
shades.
Right? Ain't that
Because
it?
it is warm. Because I've been seeing imps. I'm like, man, the fire trucks and imps
Man.
can't sit down for nothing. Because every time you look, they coming.
Mhm.
So y'all take care of yourself out there, man. If you can't do nothing else, drink you some water, please.
You know, and if you are feeling some kind of way, we just had a friend the other day that just went to the doctor and had to get one of them IVs.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
know, because he
Fluid.
was severely hydrated. So, you know, or dehydrated. I'm sorry. So, you know, you guys make sure that you're taking care of yourself, looking out for yourself.
And for you out of towners, if you're not from Tulsa, let me tell you something right now. This is a different kind of heat.
Man,
You know, I'm from Arkansas. It's heat, but it's friendly heat. The heat,
this is not
the
friendly.
heat in Tulsa is unfriendly. Now, on Black Wall Street, there are a lot of things
Right.
that are friendly, but the heat is not your friend.
It's not friendly.
So look out for yourself. But, hey, we're finna have a good day. Sorry
Yeah.
that we have a little bit of a delay, but you know what? We're gonna make this thing happen. We appreciate Uncle Bobby for manning the ship.
Yes.
He done got us back on course. We done set our sailboat. So go ahead and hit share. We got about 1.5 thousand people on the secret listeners in here. Damali,
Hey.
they all still here.
Yeah. Thank y'all for tuning in and staying in with us, you know.
Hey, let's make it happen.
All right. So, you know, we want to give a huge shout out to the staff over at EduRec Youth and Family Fun Center. On Friday was our last day of summer camp,
Yes.
and we had a phenomenal time. The kids got to go out to Chandler Park. You know, I don't know. It's been a long time since I went to Chandler Park, but I went out there to meet them out there, right?
Yeah.
And got out there. They have a really nice water park out there. So if you have not been, that is something for you guys to do. You know, when we're talking about this hot weather, take your kids out to the water park.
Right.
They had a blast out there. They took pizza out, and they were able to just go out and just have a good time and splash in the water and just enjoy.
Yeah, hold on. Okay. Uncle Bobby, you're going to have to do instrumental on that. They'll kill the live. So you blocked in 250 times.
Mhm.
Yeah, you got to do it. Instrumental on that. But anyway, yeah. So he probably did that because, you know, man, we had Tamar Braxton here for Juneteenth, and
Yes.
she did the most. So he probably gave up 15 seconds and
Exactly.
then killed it. So you might have to fade that one down.
Teresa said, "Hey, DeLauren Sanders and Tyrus Billingsley, the second, North Peoria's finest."
Just like that.
Right.
Yeah. But like you said, we do want to shout out our staff because we don't take it for granted that, man, that the community continues to support us.
Yes.
It makes 11 years of
Mhm.
having our kids come out and family. So shout out to the family, shout out to our volunteers, the staff, and everybody involved.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Want to also give a huge shout out to the Eating Out Band, Uncle
Yeah.
Bobby's band. We actually went to watch them perform at Lowdown this weekend on
Right.
Saturday. Oh my God, they did such a phenomenal job, and it was a packed house.
It was packed out to the max. It was
Yes.
not an available seat in the building. I
Nope.
had never been over there. I think I've
me
been
too.
by there. I hadn't went in.
Yes.
But I didn't know what was going on. I thought it was the Tupac video because they was all white.
Okay.
You know how I ain't mad at you how they Pac came
Yes.
around that corner. I was like, wait a minute, Uncle Bobby, you too light skinned to be Pop with the bald head too. But nevertheless, man, it was a good vibe. It was a good energy. It was an older crowd.
It was.
And to hear Sweetie Pie, they had to hear
Cutie
Sweetie
Pie.
Pie again, Cutie Pie.
Yeah.
You know, so all the jams and all that. So shout out to Uncle Bobby and the Eating Out Band for continuing. Him and Trey and the crew.
Yes.
A 13-piece band.
Yes.
Damali.
Yes.
When the last time, all the bands I see around here, nothing against the bands, don't y'all come to KBOB. But you know, it's 3-4 people. You know, you
Yes.
got a guitar,
Yeah.
somebody on the drums, and that's about it. But Uncle Bobby
Keyboard,
got
that's it, yeah.
13 15-piece band. Y'all know he played with Natalie Cole for 10 years, and he's bringing some of that old school funk back to the thing. So he put the bass in our face. I must admit, because he always say, "Put the bass in." He did it.
He did. So if you guys missed it, go to World One Development to our Facebook page. Right. We did live videos that night, and then we did some other videos that we just posted. So you can go and just feel like you were a part of, even though you weren't there. So
absolutely,
but we had a good time. It was fun. A good time had by all. So let's jump off into our Black History trivia question.
Get your thinking caps on.
Okay, now remember, we are not Googling, y'all. Okay, we're gonna try to figure this question out on our own by ourselves. And Charles, you don't have JB. Normally you punt the ball to JB first.
He's not here, so I'm on my own. So go ahead and read it. I'm gonna do what I can. I took the ACT, and if I don't know, I'm going with C. I'm telling you that right now. So read it. It don't matter what you read. If I get stuck, if I get hung up, C is my answer. Yeah. So come on with
all right. Black History trivia question. Here we go. Who patented the first self-lubricating locomotive engine? Was it A, Elijah McCoy, B, Granville T. Woods, C, Garrett Morgan, or D, R.A. Butler?
I'm going to the live audience. What y'all got on live audience? Don't y'all be Googling. Y'all come on in here. Let me do some shout outs. Can I? You give people a shout out there. Help you. Shout out to Uncle Brian. He's on.
Hey, Uncle Brian.
Quick shout out to Kim Hamilton.
Hey,
love
sis.
you, sis. Thanks for tuning in. We got the J-Bone Lounge.
Hey, AJ.
Down there in Jacksonville, Arkansas. He's live from Arkansas. Stacey Nichols from Little Rock.
Hey,
welcome to the show. Teresa is on.
Hey, sister.
My first cousin, Wyletta, is on.
Wyletta.
Welcome to the show. Jeremiah Blackwell tuning in from Mississippi.
Hey, Jeremiah.
Yeah, we call him the maestro. That's another day. And that's another story. Don't even worry about it. We also got a lot of secret listeners in here with us, and we will shout out them a little bit later. Yeah. But we definitely got to load this show. And Uncle Brian said A.
Okay.
AJ said A.
Uh-oh.
And based on their ages alone, my answer is also going to be A.
See?
What y'all got? What y'all?
So sad.
Uncle Bobby, what you got?
Sad.
Read the question one more time.
Okay, I'm going to read the question one more time. Who patented the first self-lubricating locomotive engine? Was it A, Elijah McCoy, B, Granville T. Woods, C, Garrett Morgan, or D, R.A. Butler? Uncle Bobby said C. So see, that gave you another perspective.
It's A.
Look, DeLauren said A.
It's A.
Okay.
You going with A?
More Sigma said A. So
he said more Sigma said A. This is not a Sigma
Uncle
question.
Bobby, you got the drop for the
this
police
is not.
report? Yeah. Okay. We'll cue that up in a second.
I love y'all.
So, all right.
Jayla.
Who else got some? Jayla Meeks, welcome to the show over there with the Terrence Question
Jayla
Foundation.
said Elijah, which would be A.
All right. Who else we got? Teresa said A. I'm feeling better and better.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and do the drop then.
Go ahead, bring it on up.
Let's make it happen.
Okay. And now it's time for the police report. The police report on news you can use with TPD officer and Lieutenant DeLorean Sanders.
Car wreck always kills me. I'm like, bro, can we not do the car wreck at the end? I'm like, I'm traumatized.
I know, because it actually sounds like a car. So y'all be careful out there.
Right.
It wasn't really a car accident or nothing going on, but we back live, man. We got 2.2 thousand on. Welcome to the show. We got a lot of people tuning in locally, nationally, and internationally. Damali, what you think about that? 1,000 people showing up. Well, you got your hair done. That's about.
Oh, they came on.
That's a couple people with their hair done. People want to see it. Let me get on this live and see
what she looking like.
Did she win or lose?
Right.
Like you won. You're gonna be all right. But Lieutenant Sanders, as we do, and we appreciate you for 4 years in a row. We've been having you on once a month to just bridge that gap between community and police. Because not just in Tulsa, but all around the world, man, we have a lot going on with the police. And we want to let people know that the police are right.
Yes.
You know, in community policing, when I think about Lieutenant Sanders, then I feel like he's the finest. That's just what I think. Because he show up at EduRec, our event center. He's at all the back to school bashes, and he will show up with you to eat chicken and fish.
Yeah.
At your local family reunions.
You know,
welcome back to the show. How you doing, Lieutenant Sanders?
I'm doing good. I'm making me do my job, trying to clean up some of these clusters today. We're doing
okay.
We all right though.
Yeah,
some stuff going on.
Yes.
You've been busy, like you said. We saw you on that on the TV this week. I'm like, man, you right there by the crime scene.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been busy. How's it been in Tulsa lately? Is it hot? Is it all right? How we doing?
It's getting hot. and
Oh man.
and we got people, not controlling their anger, and they want to pull them guns out and stuff and shoot at each other and stuff like that. We got that
wow.
stuff going on, but it's still pretty good. But we still have certain areas where we still
Right.
having problems.
Yeah.
Let me ask y'all
Yeah.
this, and I'm just gonna ask just for my own clarity. Is it true that when they get hot, black people get angry, or is that just a myth?
Now, when it get hot, everybody get angry.
Everybody.
That's what, not just us.
No, not just
Everybody.
us,
So
yeah.
based on what you see,
Yes.
Mhm.
okay. I know when I get warm, I don't want to talk. I like to stay
I
quiet.
know, right?
Because
Just
in
be
Arkansas,
quiet.
if you ain't got no AC, then I don't know why if we think that if you stop talking, you feel cooler. You still hot. When you
Yeah.
get hot, don't talk to me.
Right.
Just because you're hot, I can't talk to you. No, wait till I cool off a little bit. But I think we have an important topic for today that I'm excited to talk about, man.
Yeah.
With so much road rage,
Mhm.
things going on in schools, people fighting. I think just yesterday I saw somebody get shot in the backyard for
Yes.
something. It's just a
We don't
lot
know.
going
Y'all
on.
investigating, yeah.
So what we
Yeah.
want to try to do today, Lieutenant Sanders, is talk a little bit about just how you protect yourself when you're at your house,
Mhm.
when you're in your car, or if you're just on your body out and about, just giving people some tips and some nuggets to be able to survive out here. And I guess we'll start first with home.
Yeah.
And I'll throw this out here, Damali.
Mhm.
I'm gonna ask you, Lieutenant Sanders, if you have a home, I know about the use of weapons and all of that and how you arm yourself, but in
Right.
your house, what would you tell a family you should at least have to make sure you can protect your family?
Well, first thing, you need to go ahead and get them new ring
Doorbell
cameras.
rings?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Get those. You can't get some type of cameras in your house and around your house.
Mhm.
That's the first step. Always, just have your house secure enough. Make it always look like somebody's at home, even when you're not there.
Mhm.
And some people like to have a weapon inside their house. But if you got a felony, you're not supposed to be around a gun. So I know a lot of
Right.
people, you may change your life, and but if you're a convicted felon, you can have a gun in your house.
Mhm.
But stuff like that, you just don't be so obvious. Like I've always talked about, not sitting big boxes outside your house.
Mhm.
Always
Right.
break down your boxes and stuff like that. Because people see what you're bringing in.
Mhm.
And just keep your doors locked and things like that.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that another thing that we need to be clear about is what you can do, even if you have a weapon and someone is trying to get into your home. Then what do they have to do before you can actually brandish or actually use your weapon?
I always have a plan to call the 911
Mhm.
to get that started.
Right.
But if somebody get inside your house and you don't know them and they burglarize your house, you have a right to protect your house.
Right.
Inside your house.
Right.
Now, if they get inside your house and get scared and see you, and they turn around and start running down the street, you can't start shooting
Mhm.
them down the street. They out their
Man.
house now.
Right.
Right.
But as long as they in there,
Yeah.
it's their fault.
And what I'll say, Damali, I say a lot of times that might be easier said than done.
Sure.
Somebody's
Sure.
in your house.
That's a violation.
Maybe your kids was there, your spouse was
Mhm.
there, somebody was there. So you really feeling disrespect, like came in my house and did this.
Mhm.
Now you turn into Denzel Washington King Kong ain't got nothing.
Right.
Now you're all
Right,
outside.
for
You done
sure.
went. So that's what you call using discretion, because emotions play
Mhm.
a part.
Mhm.
And now you can end up going too far. So if you chase somebody outside
Mm-hmm.
and then you shoot, then you could be in some trouble, is what you're saying?
Yeah, you can. It's really how the DA looks at it.
Right.
But we're going to take you down, and we're going to take you downtown. It may change once they get down there.
Right.
But once they investigate.
Mhm.
But at the beginning, we have to take you.
Mhm.
Even if it happened in your house, you still gonna take you downtown to talk to you about it.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
Once they get in cross that threshold, they ain't got to be all the way deep in your house.
Mhm.
Once they cross that threshold, that line where we
Mhm.
think you think they in there. I mean, you can do what you got to do.
So you know what, and that's why I asked the question, because I was going to bring that up. So one of my girlfriends, she kind of lives in the country, and she had a situation like that. She was at home. Her husband's gone to work. Boys are off in college. She's at
Wow.
home by herself. Somebody's trying to get in her home.
Yeah.
Well, she knew it was going to take the police a while to get there
'Cause she
because
out
of
in
where
the
she
country.
lives. She's out in the country.
Yeah.
And so she just got her gun and she just braced herself. And so she was on the phone with 911, and they told her, if they come in your home, hey, you can do what you need to do. They don't have nothing to do with us, because we want you to be safe.
Yeah.
But, at the end of the day, thankfully, the person, I guess it was too difficult to get in the house, but they told her if he breaches,
Yeah.
the window or the door, then hey, do whatever you need to do to make sure that you're safe.
Yeah,
Right.
They coming in through a window. They ain't got to climb all the way through. Gonna stay the head start.
Yeah, once you get in there, hey,
Look, y'all know that song, Who That's Peeping Through the Window?
Right.
How nobody now.
Man, right.
Now don't do that. I just hate with the cow, but I just said it's a song out there.
Right.
Now they looking in the window. You want to wait.
You gotta wait till the glass is broken.
So
the
peeping
head
through the
see it,
window,
right?
Yes.
That's different.
Wait, a peeping tongue isn't that a crime? You can't be peeping.
Yeah, that is a crime.
That's a crime too.
But you can't shoot
Can't shoot
nobody for
nobody.
doing that.
You're not supposed to.
Yeah.
Well, they
You gotta wait.
they peeping in one of your little daughter's windows. They a man.
Now,
That's kind of hard.
hey.
That's what I'm saying. Where
Now,
the
that's a
emotion
problem.
come in.
Yeah.
My daughter in here, my wife in here.
No.
Well, I'm not gonna say that.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. Because if you're a man, you come, your wife taking a shower, the man in the window sweating and looking.
You like,
you mad.
no. Yeah, you right.
And
Yeah,
at least
and you should
now
be.
put down your gun. You go outside and fight. Sanders, can you do that? Or that's still wrong? I'm just trying to relate to
I
folks.
mean, if you think you can throw down, go ahead.
Do what you gotta do, right?
Well, yeah, but you know, every situation different.
Right.
Right.
True.
Even if it's right, we as police officers, we can't say, well, okay, this look good. We're gonna leave you here. Most likely here in Tulsa, I can't speak for every department, but here in Tulsa, you're gonna go downtown and talk to the detectives about
Yeah.
it, and then they'll determine if they're gonna let you go back home or not.
Right.
Just like that.
Right.
Real quick, I want to give a quick shout out to Daryl Ross tuning in from Little Rock.
Hey,
That's
Ross,
my
how
friend.
are you?
What's going on? Welcome to the show. And Martisha Bandschild. I think that's what I
Hey,
see.
Martisha, how are you?
I mean, we got a lot of secret listeners. So shout out to all the secret listeners. They've been unveiling themselves.
I know,
Damali.
slowly
We be
but
traveling.
surely.
Like, I'm sorry, I don't click in. Am I a secret listener?
Yes,
you are.
you are.
This is like grandma's house.
Yeah, I
we
know,
all
right?
come in. It's
It's
a
a
good
family
feeling.
affair.
It's a family
Yeah.
affair. So let's recap this before we switch to like when you're in your car. So get your doorbell ring, which I think is good because
Yeah.
you can also. So one is taking pictures, the video,
Yeah.
and you can talk.
Yeah.
Get away from my house.
Yeah.
Another thing, lock your windows, lock your doors.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And if you do have a firearm, you cannot shoot that if somebody's outside. Or if they're inside and they retreat, then you still can't because now
once they retreat, you
'Cause there's no
you're
longer
not
a
in-
threat,
you're
right?
not in danger anymore. But you also your garage, you got your garage up,
man.
and somebody running there, you don't know, and they acting crazy. You're still safe in there too.
Mm.
I've had a work incident
Because that's still
like
your
that.
house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the guy was working in the garage, and this guy ran in there, and where he became a threat. He
Mhm.
became a threat.
Mhm.
And the person had to shoot him, and they
Mhm.
shot him,
Mhm.
and they was in the garage because the guy was a threat. He was
Right.
looked like he was about to hurt him. So
Yeah.
he was taken care of.
So is that because isn't it like the castle doctrine, and that's a state by state thing? The castle doctrine,
Right.
that somebody breaches, you can shoot them no matter what. But ain't in some states where they got to prove to be a credible threat before you shoot them?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
state.
you have to
But
be.
here
Yeah.
we good.
Yeah.
But here as soon as they walk in the door, right?
Yeah.
We're in the Midwest, the
Yeah,
Wild
right.
Wild
So,
West.
yeah, we're in the house. Your house
We're in the Wild Wild West. You know,
everybody believe your house is your domain. I mean,
Yeah.
it's your castle.
Mhm.
And you have a right to protect it.
Yes.
absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely. Now let's switch gears, and I want to do that because a lot of single moms are out here. They got kids, and
Like me. Mhm.
and
Mhm.
and so I like the doorbell ring because I love all the proactive, preventative stuff. Calling 911 and doing those things. So hopefully it don't get to that point. But at least now we got some tips.
Yeah.
If it does get that far. Okay, let's talk about these cars.
Mhm.
People is stealing cars. They trying to jack people.
Man.
It's road rage is crazy everywhere right now. So let's talk about how do you protect yourself if you're dealing with your car.
Wait, listen, Uncle
ahead.
Brian said a steel chair is still your best friend.
Yeah, like the dude fighting at the beach house. It's still that.
Yeah.
So, Lieutenant Sanders, how is it just in Tulsa with like road rage and car theft and a lot of those things that are going on right now?
Well, it's a fine line.
Mhm.
Are you protecting property, or are you feeling like your life is in danger?
Man,
Ooh.
okay.
Ow.
You know,
Yeah.
that's what you're looking at.
Mhm.
I mean, if that person has a weapon and you have a weapon in your car,
Mm-hmm.
and he look like he's about to shoot you with it or something like that, I think you'll be within your rights to protect yourself within your car.
Right.
Right.
But again, if you're just trying to protect property, you go outside and you see somebody in your car breaking in your car. It's a fine line again to saying that you can shoot somebody unless you say,
Mhm.
I thought he had a gun and he pointed the gun back at me when I said get out of my car, and they turned around and I said that's the reason why I shot him.
Mhm.
But
You gotta have proof, though.
most likely you just probably want to hope they run away once they realize that you notice them in their car.
And then another
Yeah.
thing, I think at nighttime, cell phones, a black cell phone could look like a weapon
Yes.
at any time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, how
It
you
can.
always
Yeah,
got the
yeah.
phone doing something, and you do this.
Mhm.
You know, people. But I think that us talking about it in here is probably a lot more easier than you think. You hear some outside,
Mhm.
you go out there, and then 3 people just emerge from the car.
Mhm.
You know, and I think that's a scary situation to be in. And how much time do you have to think? You know, you
Mhm.
don't want to yourself end up a victim.
Right.
You don't have time to think. You know, a lot.
Right.
You know, a
It's
lot of
quick.
times, you know, it's a quick reaction,
Mhm.
and you just got to know what your intent was
Right.
when you been interviewed. You know, and never. I mean, some people do it, but anytime you interview, you need to have your law when
Right.
you're dealing with guns.
Right.
Anything, any stabbing weapon, any kind of weapon. They say you assault deadly weapon don't have to be a gun, don't have to be a knife.
Sure.
It could be a chair, it could be a
hammer.
a
Right.
hammer. It could
Yeah.
be anything
It's
that you
anything.
use to intent to hurt somebody.
Right.
So you know, anytime you're gonna be questioned about that, it'd be good. It's good to have a lawyer with you.
Mhm.
Let me do this, Damali. I'm gonna switch it. This is not even part of the show, but I'm gonna call this segment "What Would Lieutenant Sanders Do?" Can I do
Oh,
that for
I
2
like
seconds?
that.
So,
Yeah.
so Lieutenant Sanders,
Uh-oh,
you
you in
at
trouble.
home, you at the house, because I'm gonna try to do what you gonna do. And you in your house, you cooking. What you like to cook? You like to cook some stuff. Anyway, you cooking chicken.
Yeah.
You cooking you some chicken. You hear something outside. Boom, boom, boom. And you kind of know somebody's out there. What do you do when you hear that? What do you do to protect yourself, but at the same time see what's going on? You grabbing your gun first to go out, or you just going? What is
Well, if
your?
I think it's a crime come in, I'm gonna have a gun with me.
So you
know?
coming out with the
'Cause I don't
weapon,
know if that person's got a gun.
Mhm.
right?
But I'm gonna do a little, be real loud, make a loud yell at first to see if that'll startle the person, maybe run them off.
Mhm.
See if they'll run first,
Mhm.
and then just kind of watching their movements in their hands and stuff to see if I notice a weapon and see what I have to do.
Right.
Okay, can
Yeah. Or then if they don't have a weapon, I probably will point my weapon just to make them get down to see if I can hold them there till police get there.
Mhm.
Let me do this. Now what would Damali do? Is that all right? I know
Oh,
you're
yeah.
not trying. But of Damali, she's a female. She's getting gas. It's 11 o'clock at night, and some guys jump out, and it's 2 big guys. They don't have a weapon, but she has a weapon. But they 6'5", 6'4", 300. They coming toward her trying to take her car. She has a weapon. What's her course of action?
Well, her life is, you got 2 big guys, they jumping out of a big van or something like that. I mean, she got to determine her life. She felt like her life was in danger. Hopefully, all these videos, cameras around this, around her now. Maybe we can look it up and see if we can, show that she felt like her life was in danger.
So, Damali, what are you gonna really do with your grade?
I might do my taekwondo and just lay him down.
Whatever.
No.
What you gonna really do? Ain't no taco. Ain't no taco. Yeah, that's
Right.
right. That is not even real.
See, and then they gonna start laughing. I can
But
get
what
away and get in
I'm
my
saying
car and
this
leave.
because these are like just real
No, but for real,
situations
yeah.
that just happen in the heat of the moment.
Yeah.
You got to kind of already have an idea of what you would do, because if
Yeah.
you just react, if you react wrong, you in prison, and you're the criminal, and you're locked up, and you're going away from your family just because you just didn't know what to do.
Right. No, I think that to be honest, I mean, it depends on the situation. You know what I'm saying? I would say that I would probably let them just take my vehicle. If that's what they're coming for, just let them go ahead and take it, because I got insurance, and they're going to find it,
Yes.
So just let them take it. And I mean, I'm going to be mad now. I'm going to be hot as a firecracker, but
When I was thinking about that, I wasn't thinking about them taking your vehicle. We have a lot of people now, this thing they call sex trafficking and taking women off the street,
Oh,
grabbing
yeah,
people and
taking
pulling and taking women and
That would be
taking,
tragic.
that's what I was looking at.
yeah,
I wasn't thinking about
the vehicle.
I wasn't thinking about vehicle.
But see, that's the difference in how a female may think.
Mhm.
Yeah, a male, they like, no, we don't even want the car. We come to get you. Oh, well, wait a
Well,
minute.
hold
then.
on now.
You
Now
don't
let's
have
talk about
time
this.
to rationalize
Yeah,
that, but
for
until
real.
you put a real scenario
Mhm.
out there,
Yeah.
then how you gonna deal with it? Because sex trafficking, they taking women too.
They are.
taking grandma,
Yeah.
aunties, and ain't just
Yeah.
babies
Mhm.
no more.
Yeah.
So that's another thing you have to think about when you think about how you say.
But so then in that scenario, if we're talking about myself, I think I would just make a lot of loud noise, scream, just kind of make a scene. You might have to catch me. I ain't even gonna lie to you, because I'm gonna try to run. I'm telling you, I'm turning the FloJo on you. I'm out.
Let's do that with Damali turning it into FloJo and it's track season right now with the U.S. Olympics. We're gonna take a real quick break because we got another superstar guest. He's so
Yes.
humble. That's why I'm gonna say it, and I'm gonna do
Look,
that.
my sister talking about she's shooting. Don't
Man,
shut
come
up,
on,
sis.
sis. Look, if you my sister, you want my family,
I want you
start
to shoot
shooting.
too.
Don't leave your car. Let people take your stuff. You gotta get away from here. Give one warning. Tell him to get out. But we got, man, another special guest, man. This brother, he's the man with the plan. I'm just gonna tell you right there. You better stay locked in and get ready to share this video because he got great things going on. This is KBOB 89.9 FM, World One Development News You Can Use, Charles and Damali, and we'll be right back, y'all. I said you're gonna be float, yo.
(918) 200 9046.
Fitting Back In is a reintegration program designed to help those released from prison to fit back into the community as productive, valuable members of society. They help schedule various classes such as anger management, substance abuse, and mental health. They also work with different programs in the community to provide job training. If you or someone you know needs help with resources in career development, employment, or housing, to find out more information, call 918-592-3500 or stop by 2121 North Harvard Avenue, Monday through Thursday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Yes, coming at you. My name is AJ. Oasis Fresh Market is the place to go. And guess what? We're rolling out some brand new programs for customer loyalty programs, some housing programs. You need to come to Oasis Fresh Market, 1725 North Peoria Avenue. Shop at Oasis, baby. Change your life.
This is news you can use right here on KBOB 89.9 FM. World One Development News You Can Use. Charles and Damali, aka Flo Joe, and we are back.
You know, and before we switch gears, just wanted to remind everybody that tomorrow is the 4th of July.
It is.
And that, you know, if you don't know what the 4th of July is and represents, July 4th in 1776 is when the country declared its freedom from British rule by signing the Declaration of Independence. Now, we're going to be popping fireworks and stuff, and I wanted to ask Lieutenant Sanders, what is the rule about popping fireworks in the city limits?
Well, in Tulsa, you're not supposed to pop fireworks, but we know you're going to do it anyway.
I was going to say, we don't listen to that.
Yeah. Well, you know, we talk to our officers, you know, make good decisions on when you're going to try to confront it because, you know, everybody popping fireworks.
Yeah.
And, you know, so don't get in a big, you know, ruckus on people popping fireworks unless they're doing it unsafe, like shooting at each other. We do have some incidents at some of our apartment complexes where we have to go at them with a lot of officers because they out there shooting at each other with these fireworks and stuff like that, running around. And we have every 4th of July, we always have to go to a certain park. I ain't gonna say the park's name, and a couple apartment complexes. So we have to have a lot of officers out there because people out there are being reckless with the fireworks.
So with that being said, at the end of the show, we're gonna say 3 things you must consider.
Yes.
During the 4th of July. We'll come back to that at the end.
Yeah. Okay. So y'all be safe out there. Y'all don't do that. All right. So as Charles said, we're gonna move on. Let me read a couple of these comments that we have right here really quick. So Kia Billingsley said, "Hey, that's my brother Terrence."
Welcome to the show.
All right. AJ said, "Mom and Dad need to train their children where to run and where to meet up and where to hide, as well as staying quiet when they're hiding."
I like that.
My sister Teresa, as I said, she said she's shooting. My family is open.
I understand.
My Uncle Brian said, "Niece, drop him like a bad habit." AJ said, "Stay in lighted areas. Hopefully there are other people around. Keep a look around constantly. Keep your head on the swivel. When you're
pumping gas.
Putting gas. It says puppy gas. But when you're pumping gas, ladies and men. And there, Uncle Brian said this may be their last 4th in a free country."
I gotta be careful.
And Mom said she forgot to sign in. Mom, what was you doing?
Thanks for tuning in, Mom.
Are you
let's
cooking
switch.
for us?
We got another special guest live in studio just
Right.
because this time gonna be going by real fast, man. Damali and I, man, we admire this young man. We've
Yes.
been working with him for some years. We've been trying probably for a few years to get him in finally, but hey, the
Right.
stars have finally aligned.
Yes.
And he didn't send a representative because he could have.
Yes.
He came in here live and direct himself, and I am so excited to have live in studio with us Miss Terrence Billingsley the second.
Yes.
Welcome to the show.
Yes. Welcome.
Happy
Welcome.
to be here. You know, I love y'all. It wasn't no years.
He
Don't
be
be saying
exaggerating.
that. It
Don't
wasn't
he?
embellishing. I'm
Don't do
embellishing a
you.
little bit.
Don't do you. So, Terrence, tell our listeners a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and then kind of what you do.
For sure. So I'm born and raised Tulsa. I grew up on Denver. Went to North Korea Church of Christ with Brother DeLawrence Sanders. I call him brother. Y'all call him lieutenant.
Yeah, just like
I call him
whatever.
brother.
Yeah.
My first image of a police officer was him.
Yes.
But, no, I went to Carver Middle School, Booker T. Washington High School.
They be waiting on that
Yes.
Booker T. You know how it go.
It's special, man. But yeah, then I went to TCC on West U Tulsa.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been a lifelong Tulsa.
Lifelong Tulsa. So you homebred from here.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes.
Okay.
So what are you doing now in community as an adult?
Right. So I run an organization called Black Tech Street, and our mission is essentially to rebirth historic Black Wall Street as a premier Black innovation economy. So the way we go about doing that is a little bit different. Whereas you might see some other programs that have like specific widgets you can get involved with. Black Tech Street architects and secures Black tech focused economic and industry development opportunities for Greenwood, the broader area. So we actually have 3 core focuses. That's cybersecurity, business intelligence and data analytics, and then an anchor in responsible artificial intelligence.
Wow.
So what we do is we'll build out these strategies long term to say, how can we create an economy that entrepreneurs and that people who are trying to get into the workforce can take advantage of? And to build that economy, how do we broker the right partnerships? So y'all heard recently, last year, we brokered an alliance with Microsoft to help bolster, our cybersecurity ecosystem, but also to help establish us as kind of a leader in AI. And they're pretty instrumental in our this Tech Hubs deal that we just got. But yeah, in short, we design these strategies, we build the partnerships, and over time you'll see the results and the fruition of it as these different entities anchor in the community.
Man, I love it, Damali. Let me ask this quick question. How do you pick up a desire and passion to do this that you just mentioned? Because it's a lot that you
I mean, look, when you grow up, I mean, y'all know what it's like. I mean, when you grow up on Greenwood, you hear about the excellence that existed here, and the energy. It's not just about getting it back. It's about how do you make Greenwood something special in the 21st century? We had Atlanta, there were other, Black business hubs. So in the 21st century, how does Tulsa stand out? Technology is the frontier of that, specifically the technologies that I mentioned that are going to be critical to building wealth in national security. So I think that it's trying to do the ancestors justice.
Yes.
They wouldn't want us to just build back what they had. They would want us to be the best of our day too. So
I agree with that. And so how do you, because if I'm a young person in today's world, right, all of that sounds like a lot of big words and a lot of hard work, and maybe I don't want to do all that. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe I'm trying to find something easy. You know what I'm saying? I want to get out of my mama's house, but I still don't want to work hard. You know what I'm saying? So what is in there for the person who is not really techie,
So you don't got to be techie. You do got to work hard, though.
Yes.
You ain't no way around that in life.
Okay, so thank you for clearing that up. So y'all hear that, right?
But so this is why professions like cybersecurity are pretty interesting. So cybersecurity is really, that's the art of securing the technology systems we use, whether that be software, hardware, or whatever else. It's one of those industries that don't really require how to write code or be technical.
Right.
It tests other things, like protective instinct, and there are whole different types of certifications and things to cultivate. But you don't have to be tech savvy. You do have to be proficient with tech. That's not. I'm not a tech person, you can say anymore. I mean, whether it be your phone or specifically in the age of AI that we're in right now, you can't not be a
You're
tech
techie.
person.
Yeah.
It's like electricity now.
Sure.
It's everywhere. So if you're not a techie, I would say look at a area of tech that you feel is interesting and want to align with, and then see what kind of transferable skills you might have that might allow you to get a job in there. It
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
might require you taking a certification to get trained, getting a certification to get trained.
Right.
Or if you something like a project manager or a marketer in other area of your life,
Right.
or in some other business, that's translatable to tech, because the tech, job ecosystem has all of those jobs. So
Yeah.
you really just got to think about it in a critical way. But if you brand new, I would just say you should get a certification, to be honest.
Yeah.
Just
so
like that.
so where can you get those certifications? And if I was a person that may be considering this, because now I'm hearing the buzz about, Tulsa being a tech hub,
Right.
and trying to figure out what that means. So how do I find out information about this space?
Specifically, so I would you can follow Black Tech Street. You can also follow, there's a couple critical sources.
Mhm.
One, you got the TCC Cyber Skills Center.
Okay.
They're a big partner of ours. They have cohorts where they actually fund a scholarship up to 25 students, and our partnership with Microsoft supplements some of those scholarships as well. But it's a boot camp, and once you get out of there, you can be certified in cyber, data, or AI.
Oh, wow.
Now being certified in those boot camps, to be transparent with you, sometimes companies do want a little bit more than that.
Mhm.
But in terms of getting you to be able to break in, that's a
Right.
pretty critical start.
Mhm.
When you want to be more advanced, the University of Tulsa is one of the top 25 cyber studies institutions in the whole country.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
They actually have so when we hosted the White House National Cyber Director,
Yeah.
he visited the University of Tulsa. They got a Secret Service lab in there, and they've actually got a mechanism set up to where a lot of their students go to work for like the 3-letter agencies, whether it be
Police department.
Wow.
NSA, CIA, all
I
of
did
that.
not know
I
that.
didn't know
Yeah.
that until now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty critical. Now,
Wow.
it's the opportunities are wild, but you got to sell the narrative that this is something that's for everybody. Because I talk to TU about it all the time, so I don't have no problem saying it. A lot of us, we walk up into TU, we like, this school ain't for us.
Exactly.
Man.
We gotta
Exactly.
just being real. So we
Yeah.
gotta figure out how do we help them get a culture that's more welcoming to African Americans, and that's also encouraging them to see themselves in these particular critical technology areas.
So, and that's one of the areas. I'm sorry, Charles. I'm so
Yeah,
interested.
no,
in this.
hold
I'm
on.
so
You gotta
sorry.
let me get in. She just going to look. This what happens, Tyrus. When people get braids done, you can't
They
stop
start
them.
acting a fool,
They
right?
start acting a complete fool. You just be like, man, I got
I want
10.
all the
I'm like,
knowledge.
hold on. But what I want to say, another thing, people on here is like, man, how old is this brother, man? This brother got a lot of
Exactly.
How old are you? Just because they keep texting me.
I'm 28 years old.
Yeah.
28 years young, time,
Mhm.
but sharp, brother, and that's why we
Yes.
had to have him in. And everybody, if you're local, national, or international, if you have a question, then just put it on the live, and then I'll let him know about that question. Now, another thing that I enjoy about you, because I can be at home being regular,
Mhm.
and then times to hit you up and go at home being regular, drinking water, doing my regular stuff. Time to be like, hey, you want to meet some people from the White House tomorrow? I think I might want to.
Yeah. Like, who are
That's
they?
why. Yeah, and I'm like, man, yeah, but you go into these spaces, and like you said, a lot of times in these spaces, you don't feel welcome.
Mhm.
You can feel inadequate
Mhm.
because it's different when you say the White House is coming.
Yeah.
Not my homeboy from Texas, but the White House is coming. So how were you able to engage, with the White House to create, I'll call it like a hub or a situation or a partnership or a collaboration like you have?
So one of the things that's critical when you're dealing with the White House or politicians in general, you always got to understand. I mean, this would be critical for anybody. Understand what is their self-interest. What is that administration wants to push certain narratives and get certain things done. So being on the grounds of Black Wall Street and doing this kind of work, and with President Biden's administration really prioritizing African Americans, there was a really interesting opportunity to showcase the tech work and the narrative work that we were doing that they knew they wanted to help get Black people more involved, because that's a priority for this administration. So over time, it started with me being invited to a roundtable at the White House on cybersecurity, and then over time, so that was with the Office of the National Cyber Director.
Right.
Then we evolved a relationship with the Office of Science and Technology Policy when we took everybody to DEF CON with Seed AI, and from there, the Office of Science and Technology Policy is leading on AI. ONCD is leading on cyber.
Right.
With those being two of our pillars, they've just followed our work. What we did with Hack the Future Greenwood and piloting a blue teaming mechanism for AI, which we could get into. And then the Office of the National Cyber Director recently was like, they were doing these tours because they put out this report, this cyber workforce and education report about how they want to work with private sector and public sector entities to get people in cyber. And they were like, okay, well, it's also around Juneteenth, and we owe you because we were supposed to pull up to your other event. So
Yeah.
why don't we pull up to Tulsa? So I'm like, you know what? Let me check my calendar. We'll figure out if we can pencil y'all in. But
I love it.
But no, so yeah, and it was an honor to host Director Harry
Yes.
Coker, a Black man.
Yes.
Right.
Running the Office of the National Cyber Director from the Midwest. He's from Kansas, I believe. And no, he brought the house down with his comments, and I feel like it was a real encouraging experience.
You know what? So a couple things. First thing, I think it's really important for us to see ourselves right in these spaces, because I think a lot of times we don't really think that, these spaces are attainable for our culture. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate you for working that angle.
Right.
And because I'm telling you, for me to be there, it was just like amazing, to be able to have a seat at the table, and to be able to hear those conversations, even if you don't speak, just to be able to hear what cybersecurity is like. And then can you share like how many jobs are available in this space? And that's available. And if I don't know if you do, like the income levels that people can have in these spaces.
Yeah. So we actually, on the income level first, part of why when we declared for cyber as one of our areas, we did it based on two things. The fact that cyber has ubiquitous penetration with the other tech verticals,
right,
which means its ability to make money is pretty high,
right.
Whether it be entrepreneurship or through workforce demand. And then the fact that it's critical to national security means it's always going to be around.
Right.
So the average salary of a cyber professional, last I checked, was about between $80,000 and $88,000 a year.
That's good.
Compared to last I checked in Tulsa, it was like for an African American in Tulsa, this number might have fluctuated, but the last number I saw was about 32.
See?
So I mean, it's opportunity is unbelievable in terms of jobs that are available in the area. I'd have to get the most updated numbers. Nationally, you got over 700,000 vacant jobs. Now, the dilemma that we run into and we got to figure out is a lot of those jobs, probably about 2/3 of them, are mid to higher level jobs. And when you do something like get a certification at the CSC, you're more entry level, and there are jobs for that. But some of those jobs that pay north of six figures, and that number I threw out to you is low.
Right, absolutely,
like at Microsoft, you can get on like well into six figures as a cybersecurity
introduction.
But I think that the reason why I asked the question is because like my nephew is coming out of just graduated high school, and he did. College is not something like he's really interested in. You know what I'm saying? But he wants to do something, and he's real tech. Like you said, we have these phones. I'm a TikTok king, and all of that. So it seems like some of those skills should be transferable. And so for somebody like him to be able to get a certification, right, and move into this area, because he's 18, so I'm like, you got time, you got
a lot of time,
that
he can use really wisely,
right?
Let's go to the
let's
go to the live. We got a couple questions. AJ down in the J-Bone Lounge, Jacksonville, Arkansas, right by Little Rock, says, and I'll just hit all three.
Okay.
For sure.
His question is, what type of growth your company has advanced from your time since you started, and what type of income, which you already answered that it provides in your field. You answered part two. Kenneth Childs, welcome to the show. Can you name any of the tech companies that may be coming to Tulsa in the near future? And we'll just go with those two.
Okay, so on that first one, he asked about impact. So we actually just on the corner, and so we are 501c3. We were founded in 2021. So we actually just turned a major corner that's going to help us with the impact via tech hubs. We are bootstrapped org. I won't say bootstrap, but we don't have anywhere near the level of funders that a lot of the other orgs do.
Sure.
So it took a lot of validating and consistent proving ourselves to get to a point where we could get the amount of money and the amount of relationships that we have recently brokered. And now those things are in position to really come to fruition over the next 2 to 3 years. So Microsoft is one who is already setting up roots here. I could tell you a little bit more about that. It's more than them just being here, but I can't say nothing about it right now.
Gotcha. So
national security,
but it's real. That's real. And we working on brokering a relationship with NVIDIA. If y'all know about NVIDIA, that's the company that just overtook Microsoft as the most valuable company in the world. In the chips processing and things like that. They're in GPUs. They're the main player. So having those two companies here will bring a lot of really interesting prospects. In terms of tech companies that's coming to Tulsa, there was the Chamber just actually announced that there was a massive there's a massive company. It's about a $620 million investment
Oh, wow.
that they're making
Right.
in Tulsa, and it's going to bring somewhere in the neighborhood of 300 or 500 jobs.
Right. I saw that
But I'm
announcement
trying
too.
to remember the name of the company. But other than that, that's probably the most up to date I'm in. Atento Capital, if you know about them, you want to follow them. They are an investment arm of the George Kaiser Family Foundation. They work to bring startups here. They brought a lot of startups, and you can kind of check and see what kind of startups have been rooted here.
So we're running close on time, but I wanted to ask you about this because we just saw this article.
Right.
So the headline is Tulsa to secure U.S. position as global tech leader with approximately $51 million award from the Economic Development Administration. And the partners that are going to be involved in this are going to be the Osage Nation, Cherokee Nation, Black Tech Street.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
congratulations, among others. And so we're super excited. Can you tell us a little bit about what you can share? Because I know that a
sure.
lot of this, first of all, guys,
It's a
understand this
cybersecurity
is
world.
cybersecurity.
I
So
would have
it's
thought he was like, I thought I was going to see him
Right.
Miami. That's what I think they take Jurassic Parks with the computer going.
Right.
The
Yes.
people don't know G.I. Jane and all
right.
of them.
I know,
But we
right?
get into the reality of it. But when I hear your company along with these names, and
Mhm.
we know what that means in Tulsa.
Yeah.
Here in this tribal land.
Mhm.
Man, how does that resonate in your spirit, man?
It's an honor, to
Yeah.
carry
Right.
that torch forward for the ancestors.
Yeah.
But it's on all of us too.
Yeah.
But so the tech hubs, regional innovation hubs that the Biden administration put out, it's essentially this program that's supposed to catalyze domestic economic growth and national security. So
Mhm.
as part of the CHIPS and Science Act, they dispersed about $500 million to different companies that they felt could be globally competitive in industries that they thought were critical to national security.
Right.
So you had a one round where you had like 400 different cities apply.
Wow.
31 cities were selected for the initial designation, and Tulsa was one of them.
Mhm.
Right.
Black Tech Street is on the steering committee of this. It's led by Tulsa Innovation Labs, one of our partners in arm of the George Kaiser Family Foundation. But so 31 were selected for the designation, and then most recently 12 were actually awarded funds. The pot was up to $75 million. Nobody got $75 million,
Right.
but 12 were awarded. And of the 12, Tulsa's one of only 2 that got $51 million. So
Awesome.
we got the highest.
Yeah,
amount
the
of any of
yes.
them. So with
Yes.
that, Bobby, you going to
You
work?
see,
over
Bobby?
there, man.
Okay,
I
yeah, he is
appreciate
making it
it.
happen.
Yeah.
Come on up in here.
I mess with you, Bobby. So yeah, what you about to see happen, and again, I can't get into details, but the bread is going to be dispersed.
Yes.
You're going to see it go to a lot of different projects, a lot of them that are around drones. Our focus is autonomous systems. So when you think autonomous systems, think drones, think self-driving cars, think automated things that are automated.
Wow.
But and what we anchor in that is the artificial intelligence and cyber aspect, because AI is going to have a really exponential effect on autonomous systems.
Yes.
Something can be autonomous but not really intelligent. It's not contextually
Right.
aware. That's kind of the vein that AI plays in all of that, and that's kind of what we head up. I see we getting low on time, so I have to go into that another time. But yeah, it's going to be
So just know I
What
need
I
to
done
sign.
figured out-
Need to get my nephew with you.
What we know
Go ahead.
is we'll have you on again soon. I'll say that. But
Yeah.
I do want people to know where to follow you, to follow your
Absolutely.
work,
Mhm.
to how to stay engaged, all of that stuff. And we definitely will have you back on,
For
because
sure.
by then you better give a little more information. But all these people, local, national, international. Leon Fowler, welcome to the show.
Hey, Leon,
He said,
what's
that's
happening?
great. He's giving a fist bump. There's a lot of people on here,
Yeah.
man, showing you a whole lot of love.
Yeah.
But how can they follow you? Just even personally, your work and what you do. Because next we got to get the mayoral candidate on
Yes,
here.
sir.
We got one more in here,
Yeah.
but give the people how to follow you. Real quick.
So yeah, you can follow me at Bobby is acting a fool.
Yo,
You can follow me at Tyrants Billingsley II on LinkedIn and Twitter and Facebook.
Mhm.
And then you can follow me at Black Tech Street. I follow our org at Black Tech Street on all of those. Same
Okay.
deal.
Okay.
just like that,
Awesome.
man.
Thank
Damali, look,
you.
that was some heavy stuff,
Okay.
but all good stuff. And I'll tell you this: when people talk about One Tulsa, when they talk about diversity and inclusion, when they talk about doing all that, and he's just only 28. You know, you don't have to be old to be wise.
Yes.
But when I see him, I see the person that's pulling Tulsa together,
Mhm.
pulling this country together, and he has a platform to do it. And I just want to say I appreciate your grind.
Mhm.
I appreciate you
Appreciate it.
sticking to it. I've seen you going in and out of meetings. You be sweating
Mhm.
a little bit, but you
I'm
find
sweating
a
a
way.
lot.
You find a way to get it done.
Yes.
You know, there's no shortcut to the top.
That's right.
And I feel better
Mhm.
about our future because of people like Tyrants. I must admit
Yeah.
that. So I thank you for coming in. We'll have you on again.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Damali
Ain't
got to take a
no
quick
years
break.
either.
It ain't gonna take no years.
Don't say that. Don't
Couple
do
months.
you.
Don't say that.
Man, we got somebody that's gonna be running for mayor. Man, Damali, there's never been a black mayor.
No.
Boy, this seemed like a
Not
hurdle
in
we
this
not jump. But we got somebody that is running. We
Yes.
want you to know his platform, what he's up to, what he's been up to, and what he wants to try to bring to our city.
Yes.
That's coming up next right here on KBOB 89.9 FM World One Development News. You can use Charles and Damali. Thanks for coming in, my friend.
Yes.
God
Thank you,
bless
Tyrants.
All right.
Located at 5424 North Madison Avenue in Tulsa, Oklahoma. At Edgerec, we offer a whole range of activities for children and families of the Tulsa community at no cost. To find out about the many programs, activities, and services offered at Edgerec, please visit our website, www.edgerectulsa.com, or just give us a call at 918-430-3947.
Fitting Back In is a reintegration program designed to help those released from prison to fit back into the community as productive, valuable members of society. They help schedule various classes such as anger management, substance abuse, and mental health. They also work with different programs in the community to provide job training. If you or someone you know needs help with resources in career development, employment, or housing, to find out more information, call 918-592-3500 or stop by 2121 North Harper Avenue, Monday through Thursday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Edgerec is a youth and family fun center located at 5424 North Madison Avenue in Tulsa, Oklahoma. At Edgerec, we offer a whole range of activities for children and families of the Tulsa community at no cost. To find out about the many programs, activities, and services offered at Edgerec, please visit our website, www.edgerectulsa.com, or just give us a call at 918-430-3947.
This is KBOB 89.9 FM World One Development News. You can use Charles and Damali, and we are back.
And we are back. And so we have another special guest that is in studio. As Charles mentioned before we went to break, we have a mayoral candidate in the studio today. And there has never been a black mayor here in our city.
Right.
And so this would be a first for us if this was able to happen. But what we want to do today is we want to hear from Monroe Nichols,
Yes.
his forum, and what he is wanting to bring to our city. So first of all, Mr. Monroe, welcome to the show.
Hold on. We got to upgrade it. We got to go state
representative. We got to get all
Monroe
that.
Nichols. We
You
got to
got a lot of
upgrade. Just
titles.
like
You got a lot of titles.
We got to add that in there. But
Yeah.
one, we just want to say welcome to the show.
Yes.
How you been doing? Man, tell the people we got about over 2,000 people here, local, national, international, a lot of people on here. Just tell them a little bit about yourself, just who you are.
Yeah, no, Monroe Nichols. First of all, thank you for inviting me on.
Yes.
I've been waiting for a long time.
Okay.
I've been waiting for a long
Like
time.
that year that you've been waiting on
We've been
Tyrant.
connected.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
we gotta have you
Y'all-
on. We always
Y'all
say
been
it.
calling tires this whole time. I've been waiting for a call.
Oh, see? Oh,
So I'm
see?
happy to be on. No, but hey, last 8 years I've served in the Oklahoma House of Representatives. It's been an awesome experience to represent people all across the state.
Yes.
I represent House District 72 specifically, but I know that the interest that people have for the things as far as delivering on behalf of people who might be on the wrong side of the political spectrum within the majority, I know you have a greater responsibility than just those district boundaries.
Sure.
So that's been a real pleasure to serve in that regard. I serve as the chair of the Oklahoma Legislative Black Caucus right now, and so thinking about those particular issues, but really, this run for mayor is really about Tulsa's future.
Man,
It certainly is taking into account where we've been, the good days, the bad days, but really looking at the challenges that we have right now.
Right.
And I think there's everybody who's going to run. They're going to tell you about homelessness. They're going to talk about crime. They're going to talk about education. They're going to talk about all those things.
Right.
But this campaign is all about how do we actually solve those problems? Don't leave them to the next generation. How do we get busy working with community to get it done? And I think that's the biggest distinction in the race, right? Not that we're talking about, we should be thinking about how to do this. It's like, no, we've released plans on how we're going to end homelessness by 2030, very specifically, so we can be held accountable for it.
Yes.
We used to plan about how we redefine the mayor's role in education to boost student outcomes, right?
Right.
How do we get on top of affordable housing? How do we do all these things? Because I think that Tulsa is a place of great and amazing potential.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But you can't get to that potential unless you move some of these challenges off the list. And I think that's what I offer in this race. And I'm very excited about it. Very excited about it.
So let me ask you, just to lay a little bit of foundation. Where are you from?
Yeah.
And how long have you been within the state?
Yeah. So I came to Tulsa. I've been in Tulsa 22 years. I grew up in Central Texas, came to play football at TU. Yeah,
Okay.
came to play football at TU.
Okay.
And after I graduated at TU, I went and worked in the mayor's office for Kathy Taylor.
Okay.
Then after I worked for Kathy, I was chief of staff to the president at OU Tulsa. And this is when we started the School of Community Medicine, whose whole purpose was to begin to work to cut down that life expectancy gap between North Tulsa and the rest of the community. Went then to work for Career Tech for the chamber. I ran the business retention expansion program. I ran the adult workforce programs at Career Tech. Served on the Tulsa Tech board in Zone 1, which is North Tulsa. Co-founded Impact Tulsa and ran for the legislature. So ever since my feet were on the ground here in Tulsa, I've been representing this community one way or another, whether it's as a football player with Tulsa on my chest,
right,
or as a state legislator representing this community. And it's been an absolute pleasure for me.
Yes.
Ever since I've been here, it's been all about how do we serve this community, move this community forward. And this race for mayor, and hopefully this election, is just the next chapter in doing that, and doing it with people, us doing it together, because that's the only way we sustain the kind of change we need.
And so, being a native Tulsan, right, have watched how government has really not been fair to North Tulsa. We have a lot of challenges in our community. And we've been made a lot of promises by mayor after mayor after mayor after mayor. And it just seems like we end up with the same result. Other parts of town are flourishing. They're doing well. They're, have all this economic development. They have all the dollars circulating. We have to leave our community to go to these other communities to feed them. What, as a mayoral candidate, and what is your stance on how do we to reverse that? There's a lot of development coming now, but is it because we're bringing back folks who don't look like us to our community to soak up all of those dollars, right? Or is it we're really interested in trying to help community that's here?
I mean, I think you really have to think about how do we make our community a place where everybody wants to come to, right? And how do we really celebrate the businesses, big and small, that are in our community, and then how do we elevate that into broader development? I think is a big thing, right? I can certainly identify with the cynicism people have going into a race of any kind, knowing that people have made all kind of promises and very few people have delivered. And I've said from day one, the biggest thing that we got to remember is we got to hold leaders accountable, even the leaders that we like. Just because you're talking about what somebody should do, they're not doing, does not mean they're your enemy.
Right.
But if you're in a leadership role, you got to deliver for people. And I've thought about that every day I've been in the legislature. I thought about it every day I was in the mayor's office. About it every day I was at OU. I've always thought about it. At the end of when you break your public service down, it's how well are you doing on behalf of the people who have their confidence in you, to do the right thing. And so part of that is the community has to be able to come together and speak with a pretty united voice on what we want it to look like. And my accountability as a mayor is to deliver. And if I don't, be held accountable for that. And so like everything that we have released to this point has been about understanding that the problems that we have in any part of this community, they aren't going away just because we want them to.
Right.
They are stubborn challenges. They're long-term challenges, and we got to be intentional about it. And it can't just be, oh, the mayor wants to do this. It really has to be how we all are joining around and saying, hey, this is what we want for our community. And Mayor Nichols, you better get it done for us.
Just like that. Let me ask you this, because the thing about Tulsa, this is a unique city.
It is.
So when you think about the past and what that's been, it makes me think about our survivors that are still here, and to be 110. And you think about where we are currently, because I think the opportunities are great. And I see how they're trying to do the diversity and inclusion. But you still got the Hispanics out east, you still got the blacks out north, you still got. So what is it when we think about one Tulsa as we go from here into the future that you feel like you can maneuver to make that happen, where we can really be that shine and star on the hill to be example to this country of how we can work together?
I think part of the it's what Tulsa so interesting about Tulsa is sometimes we get into these conversations about black, white, Hispanic, native,
right?
And we fear those conversations. And because we do that, we have this division that stems from some really real and challenging past, but it doesn't have to be that way anymore. And I think as a mayor, you have to model that in how you reach out to communities, how you're called on people to have these conversations, but also what are you willing to say and how are you willing to speak up and show up on issues. And that's something that I've done my entire 8 years at the Capitol and would continue to do that. Because, I mean, I think about it, I think about this city. At one point, we were the oil capital of the world, powered the globe.
Mm-hmm.
Then we were the center of Black wealth. So the greatest visionaries were right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Yeah. You think about some of the first generation Americans that are now here that are all across our community. But, a lot of times we think about East Tulsa and we think about that. And we think about how they're helping build up our infrastructure.
Right.
And certainly that Tulsa is the largest city in the country. That's all Indian reservation. So if you think about it, we are an international city, but we're also a city whose foundations are grounded in the first people to ever come here and the people who are new to this country. And that's something that's really special. We ought to be able to capitalize on that. We don't do a great job of, particularly right now. And so I think you get past it by just being a mayor who's open for business and open for conversations around anything. And when there's threats to a community, not to be hesitant to speak up. I've been in the legislature for 8 years. Everything from recent bills, trying to, criminalize homelessness, or recent bills to, say, oh, since the federal government won't figure out immigration, we're going to, put felonies on folks who are here that we find doing things, or whatever the case may be. You have to be a mayor. When Ryan Walter says, schools here are garbage, you got to be a mayor. Say, hold on, big dog.
Wait a minute.
No.
Right.
That's not how we roll in here. So I think a lot of it is a mayor who's willing to speak up on some of these seemingly tough issues. They're not tough. It's how you show up for communities. And if you show up for those communities, they come out of the shadows. They're able to unite, and we're able to take all these things that we used to be and all the things that we are now, and you marshal that to become the kind of city we can become in the future.
Damali, can I ask this one? So a lot of times we do these shows called Politics 101, just to give people education on the role. What is a mayor? What do they do? What can they do and not do based on what they say? And we know the mayor is the CEO of the city. So you can look at it like that. That your job is you the CEO of the city. So what are the things that when you be able to speak, man, there's a lot of people on too. Y'all, you secret listeners, y'all know y'all wrong. Just pull on up. But anyway, because me and Damali get a bunch of calls. Who is Monroe Nichols? We don't know who. We see y'all shaking hands. We see you with the White House with tyrants. We see it. I said, it's trying to make a change. You have to be involved. You got to show up. You can't fake showing up.
Can't fake
so
it.
You show up. But when you think about if you become the mayor of Tulsa, what are the things as mayor and the power that you have as mayor for a change that you can absolutely do versus I get in a seat and I couldn't get it done because people voted against it, or the city council did this, or somebody else did this, so my hands was tied.
Yeah, I think some of the hands is tied stuff is work avoidance, right? I think the what you have to do when you get elected, I learned this from my old boss before. You got to walk in and you got to have a set of priorities. It doesn't mean that other things don't matter, but it means that you filter those things through a certain number of priorities so you can understand how these things all line up to each other. I'll take homelessness as an example, right? So the mayor cannot just with one pin stroke in homelessness in this community, but we know the mayor plays a critical role in being able to move things in the right direction. So as we think about, all the resources that are being spent on this challenge, and we think about what that means for the city. So for example, I think about this race, I think about homelessness, as a priority, education is a priority, workforce is a priority, and public safety is a priority. So singing out homelessness, I'm thinking, okay, how's that connect to education? Well, there's 900 kids at TPS alone who are homeless right now. There's 1,200 of them in families facing eviction. And so I think about housing as in my role in housing. That's how I begin to think about how I boost student outcomes. So those kids are chronically absent if they don't show up to school because they don't have a place to stay. And so you think about it as a mayor, okay, I can connect the dots on these two things. And it is tough because it's not all within my power, but I know I have a very specific role in getting that done. And I know when I go talk to Ebony Johnson, I got to say, Ebony, hey, you know what? I'm not going to let you or force you to deal with my affordable housing problem. I'm also going to hold myself accountable for literacy in this community. And so I do think you have to have like a set of priorities and then just be able to filter things through and knock those down, right? And work that way, because you're going to have dissension. You're going to have people who are going to fight you on things. If you do things that are worth it, I think this is the reason why oftentimes we don't make progress. People find out that things are just hard.
Man,
it's just hard. It's politically challenging. It's operationally challenging. And that's why so many good ideas fall by the wayside. I think the number one thing as a mayor is you can't let the hard get in the way of knocking down those priorities. Because if we end homelessness, as we know, by 2030, which is the plan that I put out there does, guess what happens? Our city becomes safer.
Right.
Our kids have a better shot as it relates to education. Our workforce is stronger. Now, I didn't do anything other than deal with this homelessness issue, and then all these other things got better because of it.
Right.
And so you can't just try to boil the ocean, even though the ocean's out there. You know, you can only boil a pot of water a couple pots at a time.
Right.
But there's these things are so interconnected that you just got to have a focus and not just try to scatter shot and do the spray and pray thing. You got to be focused and know you're doing the right thing.
So this is my last question. What do you do about, or what do you say to folks who say, I ain't voting because my vote don't count? They're going to do what they want to do anyway.
Yeah.
What do you say to those individuals?
Yeah, I tell them all the time. I was like, I understand why you feel that way, because that's what you've been shown over and over again.
Right.
But the reason why that's the case is because it's really tough for folks who are change agents to get elected, and they only get elected when people who have had enough decide the status quo has to be shaken up.
Right.
And so you're a voter to shake up the status quo to begin to change that. And if you decide to sit at home, you're just going to continue to be frustrated about things. Things are going to continue not to get better, and that cynicism is going to continue to sit in. I think additionally, though, I always remind people, my mother and father were born 1961, 1962. Not going to tell you which one was born first, but they were born before the Civil Rights Act, which we just had the anniversary of the signing of that the other day, the Voting Rights Act, the Fair Housing Act, all those things. And I think about if people decided not to go vote back then, I wouldn't be the first. I'm a first generation person born with all those rights,
right?
And it made a difference because people voted, and back then people were dying for the right vote,
Right.
And so we can't be casual about this stuff anymore. We can't be casual about it. It's too long to get here, and the road ahead is also tough, and it's not going to get any better with that level of cynicism. Although I understand it, I understand it 100%. I know folks think that, whether my person wins or the other person wins, it's not going to matter. It's like, that's not true. That's just fundamentally not true. And I want people to realize they have infinite power if they choose to use it. Choosing not to use it is exactly what the folks on the other side, and I say the other side, I'm not talking about Democrat or Republican.
Sure.
I'm talking about the people who enjoy things the way they are. That's why they win. That's why they win.
Let me add, and then I know we'll have to wrap up. We got like 5 more minutes. I'll say, man, the political climate is about to be crazy because of the presidential election. It's about to get crazy.
Yeah, man.
And you going for trying to be mayor. So how do you help the energy and the climate in Tulsa stay balanced? Even after we go, not just this, but you know what I mean when I say that, with how the political climate is about to become.
Yeah, somebody told me one time that the most important question to ask in a civilized society, and I say it's in the city, is how we're going to live together. And I think what we have to understand in Tulsa is what's going to happen in the White House is going to happen one way or the other. But on the backside of that election, we're going to have to figure out how we're going to do this here locally.
Right.
So that election, while important, while critical, definitely participate, everybody. We understand that on the other side of that, we're also going to live in Tulsa, and we're going to have to figure out how to pick up the pieces in this community, move this community forward.
Right.
And so on some level, like I said, definitely participate in that. But whatever happens there does not take away from the focus that we have about the future that we have to build ourselves right here. And we have complete control over that.
Yeah.
May not have control over the other thing.
Right.
We got complete control over it. And I think that's why that's what we have to do to provide that balance and that unity here. Say, hey, whatever happens, don't matter. What matters is how we're going to build the city that we all want to live in, and we're building to the future to it.
All right. So for the people that's like, oh, I think I'm gonna get out and go vote. This brother's sounding pretty good. So when do the polls open? What do they get ready for? What do they do from here? How do they follow you? How do they support you?
Yeah.
How do they engage?
Let's see. August 27th is election day.
August 27th
is election day. And I think I want everybody to understand this. On August 27th, if a candidate gets more than 50%, they get elected mayor on August 27th.
Right.
Oh, wow.
If nobody gets over 50%, then the top 2 vote getters are on the ballot in November. And so I say that because some people say, oh, we'll wait until after the primary. Ain't no primary. Ain't no primary.
Right.
Ain't no primary. this race could be over August 27th. And so it is a critical day for folks to go and vote. It's not a time where people are used to going and voting and, there's only a few things going to be on the ballot, but it's absolutely critical. So we got that part. How do you follow me? Monroe for Tulsa on Facebook, Monroe for Tulsa on Twitter, Monroe for Tulsa on Instagram. And then my personal Twitter is Rep Nichols, and my personal Instagram is Rep Nichols. So I encourage everybody to follow me. Now, here's the problem during football season. Follow me on Twitter. I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. And I have
you're in a safe space with the
but I have those meltdowns, and my team lets me down. Man. And so if you watch me on Twitter, you said he's a state representative.
Like, what's wrong with him?
What's wrong with him? Dak Prescott is what's wrong with me. Jerry Jones is what's wrong with me.
Right. I just appreciate you coming in.
Yes.
I appreciate what y'all
State
do,
Representative.
man.
Yeah.
I appreciate what y'all. I hope y'all recognize the impact that you have and the voice that you are. I think a lot of times we don't realize this. We just don't think about it.
Right.
But y'all have a infinitely powerful voice.
Thank you.
And the work that you do is not just a show on the radio. It is really lifting up community, and I appreciate you both for it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. That means a whole lot. We appreciate that. And appreciate you, Uncle Bobby, for giving us this
Yes, sir.
platform,
Yes.
telling us to run on as far as we can get. And again, we thank you for coming in. Again, we don't tell you who to vote for, but we bring people in and let them speak, talk their platform. And I can't say you out, so you can catch him out. He done told you where to follow him, and we wish you all the best.
I appreciate
and
it.
is any final thoughts before we let you go?
Hey, man, go vote. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing we talked about at the end. Our community, whether you and however you think our community is, if people turn out, people change things.
Yes.
Bottom line.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
Yes.
And we're going to end it just like that. State Representative Monroe Nichols, he came through KBOB 89.9 FM World One Development. He hung out with the News You Can Use crew.
Yeah.
Damali and I, we appreciate them coming through. We'll be right back with the Hump Day Hot Topics, and we're going to wrap this thing up.
The 36th Street North Event Center is a full-scale event center, but we share the experiences of the community. At the event center, you can rent space for weddings, birthday parties, receptions, concerts, Greek events, quinceañeras, and much more. We also do custom decor, linen, and centerpieces. We're located at 1125 East 36th Street North. To book your next special event, business gathering, or community event, call us at 918-200-9046. Edgerec is a youth and family fun center located at 5424 North Madison Avenue in Tulsa, Oklahoma. At Edgerec, we offer a host of activities for children and families of the Tulsa community at little to no cost. To find out about the many programs, activities, and services offered at Edgerec, please visit our website www.edgerectulsa.com or just give us a call at 918-430-3947. The 36th Street North Event Center is a full-scale event center, but we share the experiences of the community. At the event center, you can rent space for weddings, birthday parties, receptions, concerts, Greek events, quinceañeras, and much more. We also do custom decor, linen, and centerpieces. We're located at 1125 East 36th Street North. To book your next special event, business gathering, or community event, call us at 918-200-9046.
Fitting Back In is a reintegration program designed to help those released from prison to fit back into the community as productive, valuable members of society. They help schedule various classes such as anger management, substance abuse, and mental health. They also work with different programs in the community to provide job training. If you or someone you know needs help with resources in career development, employment, or housing, to find out more information, call 918-592-3500 or stop by 2121 North Harper Avenue, Monday through Thursday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Ladies and gentlemen, all new KBOB 89.9 FM, Black on Black Community Radio. And now it's time for the Hump Day Hot Topics with Charles and Damali. Infiltrators, Hump Day! Hump Day! It's Hump Day! Mike. On news you can use.
Mike, that is not
Appreciate them stopping by. by ensuring his platform. But we're gonna jump into these hump day hot topics. What we got? Damali?
Absolutely. So number one hot topic, we're talking about Bronny James. Bronny James was actually drafted into the NBA.
That's the hottest topic.
The hottest topic around.
18-year-old kid.
He's going to play with his dad, LeBron James.
LBJ.
Yes, over at the Lakers.
Right.
And everybody's in a tizzy.
And what we did is we made Lieutenant Sanders stay here, and we made Tyrants come back.
Yes.
So he's back now. He do Tech Street, but we're gonna see how verse he is in some of these other areas just a little bit.
Absolutely.
Tyrants, what do you think about this Bronny James situation?
We good?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Bobby. Look, man, I think that we can't get mad at us when we start doing what we see other people doing and succeed.
Boom.
That's
this whole nepotism
man.
Look,
argument.
I know Taraji said something about nepotism when she remixed They Not Like Us at the BET Awards.
Right.
But what I'm saying is people putting their future generations on is how you get ahead. So to be frank, look, you shouldn't have no problem with it. That's my opinion. I get there are probably other reasons, but that's my opinion.
Lieutenant Sanders, what you think about Bronny? LBJ, he got drafted.
Yeah, he got drafted and already signed a 2-year guarantee.
Guaranteed, but NBA contracts are guaranteed.
Yeah,
it's not like NFL.
I don't have no problem with it. You know, hey, if they want to make history, and the Lakers going to let them make history, let them make history.
Damali, I'll just say this, and I'll see what y'all think about this. Uncle Bobby, what you think about Bronny James? You got a little Trey. Trey could have been in the league with you.
He
is in the league with him.
Hey, I agree because that's what I would do with Trey.
Right.
I do the same thing. Come on, man. That's what we've done with him over here. So I have no problems with it.
Right.
I'll say for me, Damali, a lot of this stuff is about media. It's about coverage. It's about marketing. It's about dollars. I don't even know no other picks. All I know is Bronny James. I don't even know who the number 1 pick was this year. I just know the 55th pick. Do you know who the number 1 pick was?
I do not.
Nope.
Right.
That's why it's a good time to tune into Two Dog Sports Talk.
Right.
Now. You'll
Every
find out.
From 6 to 8. They know the top 10. I don't know the top 10.
They tell you about the top everything.
I don't know the first round. I don't know nobody in the first. I just know Bronny James got drafted.
Most of the top pick came from the European countries.
They did. There were a lot. There were a lot of.
I'll say this.
So I couldn't even say their names.
Yeah.
I'll say this. Would Bronny James have gotten drafted in the second round of LeBron? Wasn't his dad? Probably not. No, I can just say that. But what I can say, and this is what made me have to just give Bronny respect, because this is going to be his own legacy he's trying to build now. He's part of LeBron's, but at some point it's going to be Bronny in his lineage. But what I did like is he went to the NBA combine, and the brother showed out.
Yeah.
His vertical,
put in the work.
all of his measures, his jumper, everything. Now, once I saw that, and then when they performed against each other, brother looked good. So what I say is sometimes people may put you in a position to get you into a position, but they can't keep you there. Your talent's still gonna have to keep
gifts
you
and
there.
talents.
And so as a dad, if you get a chance to put your son, your legacy in a position to win, then how could you not do that?
Right.
And don't get me into the NBA, NFL owners.
Yeah.
Kids be horrible.
Well, but so my take on it is that's what you should do as a parent.
Right.
As a parent, you want your children to benefit and to excel and surpass you.
I'll tell you what's most disheartening to me, because I'm a dad and I have a son, right? The most disheartening thing to me is how African American brothers do all that harsh stuff. Like all of us as men should be applauding LeBron James for putting himself in a position where, despite the energy, despite power, this is a power move, y'all. You know, when do we get to make a power move?
Right.
Because LeBron James couldn't draft Bronny, but his power says he coming to the Lakers or anybody else calling me going to Australia. You know, so a lot of times, like what Tyron said, we don't get a chance to exercise that. We don't never see that. And for LeBron, think about his life. You know, he's been in the spotlight since 18 until today. What bad thing can you say about LeBron?
Yeah.
About him as a dad, him as a leader, him as anything you can think of. So I was just going to say to any brother, whether you like him as a basketball player or not, man, we got to honor and respect the man that paves the way for his family, his next generation, and on this level, and can't nobody do nothing about it. That's a show of power, which a lot of times we don't get to have.
Yeah.
No, a good man does everything in his power to better his family's position. So
Yes.
I mean, you want to be humbled by the feats of your child. Why would you not put them in a position to do that?
Exactly.
You know?
And we're gonna drop it right there.
Hey, what they gonna do, Lieutenant Sanders, when Bryce signs to the Lakers here in a couple?
Oh my God, they're gonna fall out.
because it's coming.
It's
Oh
coming.
yeah.
It's coming.
He's better.
And
It's coming.
Tyrus, what they gonna do about that when Bryce signed? They might be all on the Lakers in 2 years.
He's better.
But anyway, all right, we got another hump day hot topic. So we're just gonna say nobody's on the live. They said they're gonna take it easy. But I just want to say I wish this young man the best,
Yes.
regardless of everything else. You'd like to see brothers have an opportunity to thrive and to do something that they love.
Yeah.
So let's just applaud him and give him a chance to do his thing.
Yeah. All right. Our next hump day hot topic. I don't know if you guys were able to watch the presidential debate, the first debate this election season. I watched the debate.
You watched it?
And I was like, Lord,
Lieutenant Sanders, did you
is
watch
this
it?
the best?
I had to turn it off because I just couldn't take it, man.
Man.
I mean, the lies, and then our current president, he was kind of, fumbling with his words and stuff. So I just couldn't take it.
And y'all know on our show, Uncle Bobby allows us to tell our story our way, and we try to always do it the right way. But then y'all always plead the fifth because we are just reporting news. So, Tyler, what do you think about did you watch the debate, or what do you think?
So you got one who, if he tell you snow is white, he lying, and then you got the other one that, okay, yes, President Biden has declined, but I'm gonna switch the topic right now.
Okay.
More important in the debate is Project 2025. If you
Oh,
don't
yeah,
know
you
about
know,
that, you need to know about
yeah.
that. Okay, the Heritage Foundation, there has been a coalition that has really been essentially setting up what you could only describe as a coup.
Right.
On the United States government. It is a right-wing organization. And over the past years, they've been calling it a slow-moving coup almost. That's what people watching it from afar have seen. They've been replacing a lot of the different critical people in positions in the government that could guard against the coup, the recent Supreme Court decision.
Yep.
All of this is coordinated, and I don't think people really get what we on the cusp of losing.
Right.
So we got to think about the debate was a debacle, but this is way more important. People need to be focused on Project 2025, the Heritage Foundation. Look into them and vote. It's crazy.
Okay.
Man, that's something. And I am up on that. And he's right. If you haven't, we got all these people still on the live. Make sure you go check that out. But for me, the debate was disheartening. And in my mind, I'm thinking, if we're the most powerful country, in this nation, is this the best we got? And it was tough. And I'm glad because you put it in the right perspective. So don't forget that. You earmark that. We just gonna kind of unpack it because either way it go, these might be the two that we voting for president. Either way it go. And man, I don't feel encouraged. I feel discouraged all the way across the board.
I don't believe that they are the best that we got. It's just it's the other people it's not their turn to run yet. You know how it is. They like, okay, yeah, you probably could do better, but we're going with these two, and that's who we're going with right now.
So let us be clear: is that neither candidate are at the official nominees of either party as of yet. Okay.
Right.
The National Political Convention hasn't taken place yet, but it's possible,
right,
that these are our two.
Right.
Okay. I from what I've heard of political analysts, they're saying that there's probably no way that Biden is not going to be the Democratic
that's right.
nominee.
That's going to happen.
Who's to say about Trump? We don't know, but it's probably going to be. These are probably going to be the two. Okay, but it's not set in concrete. So let's just be clear. It's not set in concrete as of yet.
And one thing we got to watch too, they got this guy that's independent named Kennedy that's running as president, and that's going to slide some votes away from certain people. And he's only run. I think he's only run. He know he can't make president, but it's going to be a way to take away votes, some critical votes from somebody.
It's strategic. Whatever's going on. And it's politics.
Yeah.
The thing about this is it's all about politics. And I kind of agree with you, Lieutenant Sanders. I think a lot of things is wait your turn, but it's like, man, waiting that turn to get 80 is a long way up. And I'm going to focus on, like what you said, Thomas. I am upon that. So that Project 2025, pay attention to that. But we get ready to go against this. And to me, Biden, you don't feel like you so divided as a country. I'm just saying I want to give in all the political stuff because it's a lot to go along with that, even if you are president, the House and all of that stuff. I think Trump sometimes can make us feel divided and a little more unsafe. just high level. Tyron, some of you jump back in. Right?
Wait, let me read this comment. So AJ says, I don't care if they rode Joe Biden to the podium in a wheelchair. I'm still going to vote for him.
That's the energy.
Yes.
When you about to lose the House, you don't be tripping because you don't like the color of the door.
Right.
Like, you come on now. I'm not voting for Biden because he looked like, do you know what your alternative is?
Right.
Like, I mean,
right.
Look, he's not the best, but he's what we need to beat back tyranny at this point. And then afterward, we got to figure it out because half the country ain't gonna self-deport.
And to your point, AJ is saying that Kennedy's family is against him running for president as well.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so they don't want him to do that. So
Can I say this before we switch gears? I just don't even understand how one can run for president.
Look, when you put your hand on your head,
look,
what are we doing in America?
But you know, I looked it up.
I know.
That is not one of the requirements. Whether or not you have felonies, or that is not one of the.
Do you know how many jobs you can't get by having a felony?
I know. There's apartments that you can't even qualify for. You can't get
life
jobs.
insurance.
Man,
how you gonna be?
But I can run for president.
If he was black, they found a way to make it a problem.
Man,
it would have been a problem a long time ago. He wouldn't even be up there. It wouldn't have been no debate.
Let us snatch that. Nope, you're not doing.
But y'all stay tuned in to that. We just want to kind of bring that because that is the hottest topic that's going on right now. I think Biden did better than the next one, but like you got to keep the right perspective. I'll leave it at that. Okay,
well, it's consistency. It's consistency, and I think what has happened with President Biden is that he has not been consistent. I don't know if it's his health or what it is that's causing him to not be consistent. But on one, when he does one debate or one speech, he's like, all in, and then the next one, it's like, he's not quite all there.
Well, you can't do that. When you get older, you can't snap back fast like you can when you.
Look, we know because we getting there, right?
Yes, that's the problem.
Y'all ain't quite there.
We ain't there, but yeah.
At 50, you just make sure everything's working before you stand up.
Yeah.
You don't jump off truck beds and stuff like that. We there. Yeah. But anyway, we got to get out of here, Damali. We let's go on this Black History trivia. So we can roll out of here in a couple of minutes.
Black History Trivia. Here we go. So you guys had an opportunity at the beginning, and we had several people that said A, several people that said C. I am going to go ahead and read the question once again. The question is, who patented the first self-lubricating locomotive engine? Was it A, Elijah McCoy, B, Granville T. Woods, C, Garrett Morgan, or D, R.A. Butler? So for those of you who said A, you are absolutely correct.
Yes.
You only said A because
shout out to Uncle Brian and shout out to AJ down there in the J-Bone Lounge because I didn't know. I'll be honest, I didn't know.
So Elijah J. McCoy was a Canadian-American engineer of African-American descent who invented the lubrication system for steam engines. He was born free on the Ontario shore of Lake Erie to parents who fled enslavement in Kentucky. He traveled to the U.S. as a young child when his family returned in 1847, becoming a U.S. resident and citizen. The quality of his inventions helped coin, I like this, the quality of his inventions helped coin the phrase, the real McCoy.
Right.
His inventions and accomplishments were honored in 2012 when the United States Patent and Trade Office named its first regional office in Detroit, Michigan, the Elijah McCoy Midwest Regional Patent Office.
Just like that. So shout out to me.
Yeah,
and Brian,
he said to me,
Teresa, and others that said
you were influenced.
Let's jump into these upcoming events.
Look, he's gonna try to get out and slide on by.
I'm sliding on out. We gotta go.
All right, upcoming events. The 36th Street North Event Center has dates available. If you're looking for a place to hold your next wedding, birthday party, banquet, repast dinner, community event, etc., give us a call at 918-200-9046 to reserve your spot. Black History Saturdays is back. It's going to be happening July 13th at Edgerec Youth and Family Fun Center located at 5424 North Madison Avenue. It's going to be from 8:45 a.m. until 2:45 p.m. You can register at bit.ly/Black History Saturdays. Uganda Missions is going to be taking place July 15th through 23rd. We're still accepting donations. You can make donations at worldonedevelopment.com/Uganda-missions. Remember that we are taking members from the Juice radio show right here at KBOB. We have 3 members from the Juice that are going. We also have 2 members from McLean High School that are going to be going with us, and 2 other young ladies that will be going with us from other Tulsa public schools. So it's not just about the mission. missions. It's also about education. So, make a donation today at world1development.com/Uganda-missions. Remember, no donation is too large or small. Remember, we are a 501c3 not-for-profit organization. All right. The Tulsa HBCU Send-Off Celebration 2024 is going to be happening July 26th at 6:00 p.m. at BS Roberts Park is where it's going to be. There's going to be a car show that's also going to be taking place on July 27th. If you want to get any additional information, you can go to the Historic Main Street Facebook page, and they'll have information there for you about that event. Oasis Fresh Market is going to be hosting its back to school event on August the 7th. More details are coming soon, so stay tuned to Oasis and to World One Development. We'll have information about that. The back to school block party is going to be happening at Lacey Park, 2134 North Madison Place. It's going to take place on August the 10th from 11:00 a.m. until 2:00 p.m. There's going to be music, food, fun, and that kickball game.
I know. You better watch. You better start getting your Bengay and all that for that football game. I seen some problems.
Divine Nine, y'all better get ready.
Hey, I'm ready.
All right. The Spreading Hope Back to School Bash 2024 is going to also be happening at BS Roberts Park. It's going to be at 901 North Greenwood Avenue. It's happening on August the 17th from 10:00 a.m. until 2:00 p.m. Motorcycle clubs, car clubs, I need y'all to get them backpacks and stuff ready.
Get ready.
I'm getting ready to make a call to y'all so we can go on ahead and do this stuff for our kids. Who is it?
Birthdays.
Oh, no, I was looking at Teresa's comment. Project 2025 is for real, she says. All right, birthdays. July 3rd, which is today. Franchetta Mays is celebrating a birthday, as well as your fraternity brother, KJ and
in
Anderson.
the Twin City, Minnesota, my DP.
Yes.
Happy birthday.
All right, and we want to send a happy 20th wedding anniversary to our very own Angie and Carl Walker.
Oh,
yeah,
one of my
20
favorite
years
colors.
today. Yeah, so we're
Two
excited for
decades
them.
together.
Yes.
Shout out to y'all. Love y'all.
All right, and then tomorrow, Corey Taylor II celebrates his birthday.
Happy birthday.
How old is Corey going to be? 31, 2?
27.
27?
Yeah,
He's
he's running around with y'all. Yeah,
he's your age,
he ain't
Tom?
made it to the 30 club
Oh,
yet.
wow. He didn't even make it
Doing
to
big
30.
things, though. Doing big things.
Well, happy birthday, Corey.
Happy birthday.
And then July 9th, we have Dwayne Henderson and Antoine Brown of Twan's Dance Group. He's going to have a birthday.
Happy birthday, family.
All right, so don't forget, you can reach us on any of our social media platforms. That's the 36th Street North Event Center, EduRec Youth and the Family Fund Center, World One Development, or Fitting Back In Prison Reentry Program. And don't forget to tune in to nycu.fm, where we play today's R&B and throwback hits.
Just like that, appreciate all of our special guests for coming in. Of course, the police report, Lieutenant DeLorean Sanders. Final thoughts?
Hey, let's be safe with them folks. Don't be shooting them at each other. We will have people in certain locations making sure that everybody's safe.
Uh-oh.
Mr. Tyrance Billingsley, final thoughts?
Y'all stay up, look into Project 2025, and then plug into your community and vote.
Yeah.
Shout out to my uncle and my auntie that stopped by the radio station to hang out with us. We had them on camera a little bit. They said, hold on now, you can't put royalty on camera like that. Our reunion is going down this weekend, so safe travels to all my family that are coming in this weekend. Hang out in Tulsa, home of Black Wall Street. Appreciate Uncle Bobby for navigating the ship. Damali, your final thoughts before we go?
You know what? And I forgot my sister's birthday is actually today as well on my dad's side. So happy birthday,
That's
Tracy.
how we do in the Black community.
Yeah.
On my dad, uncle,
on my
cousin's
dad's
side.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to
Yes,
you.
yes. No, so I would just tell everybody, make sure that you're voting because your voice does count. Sometimes these votes get down to just, a handful of votes that make the determining factor as to whether or not a candidate gets in or not. So you can never, ever take the position that my vote doesn't count. And then secondly, like Lieutenant Sanders said, please be careful with these fireworks.
Right.
Y'all watch your babies out here and make sure that they're, doing what they're supposed to do safely, because kids think everything is all fun and games until somebody's arm get blowed off.
Right. And the wisdom here on KBOB is, I know we celebrating the Independence Day 1776, but just know that they were still slaves. We weren't free. The 13 colonies still had all that. So while you got out there celebrating, still know what the history is, because of course you weren't born back then, but still know what your history says about that. We were not free. That was Independence of the United States on that day. It was a
The
huge
UN, right.
celebration.
That's a
And
difference.
Thomas Jefferson, you know, the thing with him and the little girl and all of that. But just know the history. That's where if you don't go to Black History
Right.
class,
Right.
so you at least know your history. But go ahead and shoot your rockets and all that if you want to.
Yeah.
Please consider donating to Eat Media Services to help our community radio continue to stay on the air. You can send your cash donation made payable to Eat Media Services to 1216 North Lansing Avenue, Suite D. We moved on up, y'all, Tulsa, Oklahoma, 74106. This has been news you can use with your boy Charles Harper. That's me.
And Damali Wilson, that's me.
Also, thanks to State Representative Monroe Nichols for coming in too and sharing his platform.
Yes.
But we are live every Wednesday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. So make sure you tune in.
We're gonna have some babies. She's gonna take her to the cookhouse. Take her to my mama house. She need a hair done. She will be my girl till we old and gray.